Hey guys, and welcome to another Helios staking video where we talk about borrowing on Hatom. So first of all, make sure you watch our video about supplying collateral to Hatom, as without collateral supplied to the platform, you won't be able to borrow. You'll be able to borrow up to 80% of your collateral in the form of a new asset, or in the form of the same asset, just once it's available on the borrow market, and once you have enough collateral supplied to the platform. Essentially, you just need to be careful. There's a few notes from Hatom themselves about borrowing. The reason they've set the borrow limit at 80% is obviously they want to over-collateralize the borrowing to protect the lenders, to protect the people who are supplying the collateral, and to maintain platform health. Essentially, be careful borrowing assets that are volatile, as price swings can cause liquidations if the value of your borrowed assets change significantly. You're liable for the amount borrowed, or you'll be subject to the liquidation process. And this happens when your borrowed assets exceed 90% of your collateral. The liquidation process will start to kick in, and it's essentially borrowing or balancing what they call the health factor of the account to ensure, as I talked about, the safety of lenders and as a result, the health of the platform. So let's get into it. Let's have a little look at how to dive right in. So we'll see here, as I showed in an earlier video, I supplied a certain amount of EGLD or staked MultiversX to the platform, $56 of it, so I can borrow up to $40 in an asset I choose. And one of the things Hatom recommend is to at least either lend in or borrow a stable asset, just to ensure slightly less volatility, to reduce a certain amount of variability and volatility in the rate of repayment of your loan. So I'm just going to borrow some USDC. I can borrow up to $40.92, I think, so I'll just borrow $30. And the borrow APY is 45%. This is something to be considered. This is something to be considerate of. The APYs, or the loan repayments, or the borrow rates, are variable and depending on the supply and demand of the platform. So that's just something to be careful of. Is the rate does not stay stable. You can repay the loan at any time. Once the platform health, you maintain your platform health, the loan can stay active. But obviously, as soon as your platform health deteriorates, or your health factor of your account deteriorates, you'll be subject to the liquidation process, and your loan will start to be automatically repaid from the collateral that you've supplied to the platform. So obviously, click on Wrapped USDC. I'm understanding that I'm borrowing it at a 45% interest rate. Clicking on borrow, just sign the transaction in my account. Lovely. So my transaction is complete. I've borrowed 30 USDC. And then if I ever want to go and repay that, I just come in here. I go repay. Repay dust. There we go, and we see I've repaid. So the APY of the loan accrues over the time period that you've been holding it. So obviously, the sooner you repay, the less interest you accrue on the loan. And so yeah, that's a little taster as to how to borrow assets on Hatom. Hopefully, this little tutorial was helpful for you. Gives you a little bit of a better understanding how to use Hatom. So obviously, we've already covered maybe how to liquid stake your assets. We've covered how to supply collateral. We've covered how to maximize the booster. And now obviously we've covered how to borrow. Hopefully this was helpful, and stay tuned for more of these from us at Helios Staking.